Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. I hope you've had a wonderful day, and I hope you've saved enough energy for me. Now, what am I talking about? I am talking about money. I talk about money every single day because I love money. Money is great, and I believe we all should have money. Now, I need to give you guys a little bit of update, okay? For the past few days, I've been helping individuals with their personal prosperity. My good deed has come to an end. I'm going back to business as usual. And what is business as usual? Business as usual is history, it's current events, it's economic booms, and it's helping you follow money flow. I'm going to repeat. Past couple of days, I've been telling people how to transition from 9 to 5 and transition out of a 9 to 5 job into their own business. I'm done with that. I'm back to business as usual. Business as usual is money flow. It's helping you understand how the money's flowing so that you can ride one economic boom after the next and you do not get stuck in a recession. Now, my live stream is planned, it's focused, it's intense, and it's very informational and educational. If you've never been in my live stream before, welcome. This is not entertainment. If you're looking for entertainment, you need to scroll. If you're ready to be stimulated, you're ready to be shocked, you're ready to be titillated with your mind, welcome to my live stream. Now, I do have a moderator. My moderator plans my talking points. My moderator's sitting right there next to me. Why am I telling you this? If you get blocked, congratulations. You didn't want to be here. If you get muted, I'm just asking you very politely to focus. Don't take it personally. Now, my live stream is about money. Money, 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 money. Please keep your preferences out of my live stream. Please keep your racial, religious, political, gender, or whatever other preferences, keep it out of my live stream because we are focused on money. We're focused on objectively chasing this money, getting this money. Now, I focus on big events. I focus on countries. I focus on companies. I focus on the stock market, okay? This is a complicated live. That being said, I need y'all to engage. I need you to tap the screen. I need y'all to show me you're here. I need you to vibe with me because I'm live. We're live. I'm live. We're live together. Now, I'm starting with NVIDIA. Yeah, I'm back to business, guys. I'm starting with NVIDIA. Now, what does this mean? It means I'm focused on money flow. I'm focused on business cycles, economic cycles, current events, and history. If this is something that you enjoy, you can get with, welcome to my live stream. Now, NVIDIA's CEO, he has had a miracle. He went from losing billions of dollars of worth, and this man has basically crossed close to $120 billion of worth overnight. Now, on one hand, I say congratulations. On the other hand, I'm like, wasn't NVIDIA and NVIDIA's CEO under a government probe by the U.S. government? So miraculously, within the last 4 to 6 weeks, NVIDIA's CEO has gone from being under a government probe, from engaging in questionable activity, to now becoming one of the richest men, women in the world. Now, what do y'all think about that? Tap, 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 guys. If you're here, you're choosing to be here. Let me tell you how this works. I talk money flow. I talk current events. I talk history. I talk business. And my goal is to educate you on money flow so that you are able to have prosperity and you're able to build generational wealth and you're able to understand what's happening in the world. And I give you my unique perspective. But I need you to tap the screen. Okay, if you don't want to tap the screen, I understand this is probably not the right place for you to be. Welcome to my live, everyone. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support, but we have to engage, okay? Now, back on topic. NVIDIA's CEO, his net worth is nearing $120 billion as shares of NVIDIA surge. Now, it surged because of a chip deal with Saudi Arabia. Okay, yes, Saudi is here. Saudi is making some big moves. Now, for the past couple of days, I haven't been talking about global events or world events. But last week, when I talked to y'all, I made a note to tell Saudi Arabia that they have an opportunity to get into this AI race and win. Also, last week, I told you that the U.S. was going to Saudi Arabia, and the U.S. is putting on a dog and pony show for Saudi Arabia because they were trying to smooth the waters. Now, why would the U.S. be trying to smooth waters? The U.S. was trying to smooth waters because our GDP for the first quarter fell flat. Now, Saudi Arabia hi God, he said it. Saudi Arabia about 2 months ago had pledged $1 trillion. $1 trillion to invest in the U.S. economy over 4 years. That's basically $500 billion over the next 4 years. So basically, Trump showed up with a few CEOs. They were doing a smooth the water, smooth the feather show. And I guess NVIDIA joined the party. Now, because of this meeting, hi Jamal. Because of this meeting, NVIDIA went from losing hundreds of billions of dollars of its market cap, and basically they made the money back overnight. Now, I find this extremely intriguing. But before I go further, I need y'all to know something. First, those of you who watch me, I want you to know I appreciate you. Those of you who come every single day or almost every single day to watch me, I want you to know that I appreciate you. I see you. I hear you. I am a lot of person to deal with, and you ride with me. So I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I'm here for you, and I do this for you. Next, for those of you who do not know, I do this for all of you. I do this for your prosperity. I do this for your support. So if you feel that the content I bring adds value to your life, I have a honey love. I have a new link. I have a new link in my profile. That new link will allow you to show your support for my show and direct correlation to the value I'm adding to your life. So feel free to check that out. Okay. Now back on topic. NVIDIA is to sell 18,000 plus chips to Saudi Arabia. Now this chip is very unique because this chip has just recently been released. This is not a chip that's been sitting around. This is a chip that NVIDIA has just recently released, probably within a few weeks, a few months. And Saudi Arabia is getting the first dibs on technology that's essentially not being released. Now, the first thing I say is Saudi Arabia, great negotiations in Saudi Arabia, great negotiation skills. Now, it makes me also take a step back and say, why is it that Saudi Arabia, gets first dibs on 18,000 plus NVIDIA chips? Not just any chip, a chip that's just released. It's just their newest, latest version. That means if NVIDIA was supposed to offer this chip to many different countries, to many different companies, Saudi Arabia has first grab on this. Now, to me, that's like, wow, that's a power move. That's a power move. NVIDIA is essentially putting 18,000 chips in the hand of one country. And then when I look at it from Saudi Arabia's point of view, I'm like, wow, Saudi's making moves. Saudi's making big moves. Saudi is making bold moves. Now, why would Saudi Arabia need 18,000 plus of one of NVIDIA's best chips? The chip is the GB300 Blackwell. So Saudi Arabia, and this chip just came out this year, Saudi Arabia has access to the GB300 Blackwell that's just been released with NVIDIA's latest technology. Now, guys, China still has an export ban. China has an export ban on critical rare minerals. Critical rare minerals to the U.S. Critical rare minerals are what's used to produce those chips. I'm going to repeat. Tap that screen. If you're vibing with me, I told you I'm back. I am back in full form. Tap, 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 tap. I'm a demanding woman. But guess what? I bring it. Okay? I'm a demanding woman, but I bring it. So you got to bring it too. Saudi Arabia is getting 18,000 plus chips from NVIDIA, the GB300 Blackwell. Now, China has a critical rare mineral ban, sending minerals to the U.S. So the U.S. can't build the chip in the U.S. The U.S., we can't really build the chip because we're running out of our stockpile. So now you have NVIDIA, whose market cap company value was falling from the sky. It was free falling like a comet. All of a sudden, NVIDIA's CEO, who was under a government probe, U.S. government probe, for engaging in activities with another country, is now showing up in Saudi Arabia. And now he has this new deal, new money, and he's super rich again. And all of these chips are going to Saudi Arabia. Why would NVIDIA put all of its chips, literally, in the hands of one country? And why would one country want all those chips? You have to go, If Saudi Arabia gets all these chips, which they probably are, that gives them an edge, an AI edge that no other company per se has. Saudi Arabia is now able to monopolize technology, a chip that hasn't even been released. No one else has gotten access to it. What must have happened for NVIDIA to agree to such a deal? Now, if you were to ask me, you didn't, but I'm going to read your minds. If you were to ask me, I think NVIDIA, even though they benefited financially, I think their arm got a little bit twisted. I think their pinky got twisted. Because if you listen to me, I told you about 4 to 6 weeks ago, NVIDIA got a slap on the ass. NVIDIA was under a government probe by the U.S. government for engaging in relations that were questionable to the U.S.'s security. Now, all of a sudden, NVIDIA has emerged. They've emerged in Saudi Arabia. They're offering all their 18,000 plus chips that they can't build in the U.S., but they're magically offering the chips to Saudi Arabia. So what am I telling you? I'm trying to tell you, NVIDIA, we don't have access to Saudi Arabia. So what am I telling you? I'm trying to tell you, NVIDIA, we don't have access to those critical rare minerals in the U.S. because China has an export ban. So if NVIDIA is not building those chips, then that means NVIDIA is having to give over some of its intellectual property, Intel, to have those chips built someplace else. Now, where could those chips possibly be built? In Saudi Arabia. Because if you listened to me a week ago, I told you Saudi Arabia has access to critical rare minerals and resources that they were originally offering to the U.S. has access to critical rare minerals and resources that they were originally offering to the U.S. But why offer the U.S. the critical rare minerals when you can keep them for yourself? You can build the chips yourself, and you have the plans to build the chips sources, because the China and U.S., they're still trying to figure it out. And China's not letting go of its gold, which is its critical rare minerals. So how is it getting done? Saudi Arabia is more than likely going to build it. Saudi Arabia has cutting edge technology. Saudi Arabia just put themselves in the forefront and the front of this AI race. Now, what does this mean for the U.S.? Tap, 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 guys. Tap, tap, tap. What did I tell you? I need you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your follows. I appreciate your dedication. I appreciate your patience with me. But that also includes you tap the screen. And if you really want to show your support, your loyalty, I have a new link in my bio that allows you to show me how much you value the content and how it directly benefits you in direct proportion. I want to repeat that, and I'm going to keep repeating that, all right? You have an opportunity to show me how much you support me, all right? And everyone else, guess what you can do? Karaoke boy, go find a mic, go find someplace else. The U.S. is offering up chips, technology, to one country. I'm asking, who owns who? Who owns who? Bye-bye, karaoke. Who owns who? Who owns who? When you own a company, you want as many customers as possible because that's called diversification. It's called hedging your bets. That is how NVIDIA became so successful because they have a multitude of customers. NVIDIA just released a chip, their most recent chip, and essentially all of those chips is going to one country. How is that possible? That's typically not how business works. So it's leading me to believe that NVIDIA even though they financially benefited, I'm telling you, there's some behind the scenes shenanigans that had NVIDIA positioned to offer its 18,000 plus chips to Saudi Arabia. There's no way NVIDIA would just offer this technology, this chip, to one country unless there's something else that was going on behind the scenes. And I'm telling you, it was in the news that NVIDIA was under a government probe. It was in the news. So how do you think NVIDIA got its way out of being questioned in the Washington, D.C.'s dungeon? How do you think they got out? I call it 18,000 plus chips of the GB300. That's what I call it. Now, this whole deal, it looks good on the surface because their stock price is going back up. But I'm telling you, something doesn't make sense because it doesn't add up. And when it doesn't add up, I'm telling you something's wrong. The price looks right. The stock price is right. His wealth is right. But how this has been orchestrated, it doesn't make sense. Because last time I recall, the U.S. president does not bring an entourage of CEOs to another country to do a dog and pony show unless you're trying to fix something. And the U.S. GDP, I would say, would be a big problem. Because if you're Saudi Arabia investing $1 trillion in the U.S. and the U.S. economy is flatline, you got to go to Saudi Arabia and you have to convince them that they should still invest in the U.S. Does that make sense, guys? Tap that screen. Saudi Arabia pledged to invest $1 trillion in the U.S. before our GDP was released. The GDP of the U.S. fell flat. I believe Trump and the entourage of the tech titans went to Saudi Arabia to save face. And what did they do? They started offering gifts. They started offering gifts because they don't want Saudi Arabia to back out. Now, they offer Saudi Arabia a lot, but I think one of it was an 18,000 plus deal, which brought NVIDIA stock price up. It brought the wealth of, Huang. It made Mr. Huang richer, but I'm telling you, something doesn't smell right. Okay? It doesn't smell right. Next, NVIDIA CEO announced his support for building Saudi's AI infrastructure. So NVIDIA has announced that they support Saudi Arabia and building their AI infrastructure for 18,000 plus chips. Saudi Arabia is building more than AI infrastructure. Do we agree on that? Hi, Leela. They're building more than that. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. 18,000 plus chips. That's essentially, I'm going to make an assumption. I'm going to make an assumption that Saudi Arabia is cleaning off the shelves of the GB300 chip. Okay? They've sold out NVIDIA. In order for Saudi Arabia to need 18,000 chips from NVIDIA, they're doing more than building AI infrastructure. Are you with me? Come on now, if you're with me, tap that screen. Please follow me and tap that screen. 18,000 of NVIDIA's chips, not the low-level chip. This is a high-level chip. I would say Saudi Arabia is doing an economic restructuring. I would say Saudi Arabia is doing they're doing an overhaul. This is not a 20-year plan, 30-year plan. This is an overhaul that will have them in direct alignment by 2030. Now, what's happening in 2030? Well, 2030 is the year that's projected that AI is supposed to add 15 trillion plus to the global economy. I think Saudi Arabia has just drop-kicked a lot of people out of the race, whether they know it or not, and they have taken the lead and they plan on bringing this baby home. 18,000 chips is more than AI infrastructure. That's called a takedown and a takeover. I want you to, if you heard me, tap that screen. If you heard what I said, tap that screen. Okay, show your support. Okay, guys, you got to show your support. 18,000 of NVIDIA's best chip is going to Saudi Arabia. And NVIDIA just said, we support Saudi's building its AI infrastructure. No, Saudi is not building AI infrastructure. Saudi is doing a takeover and a take down. Take down. Now, what does this mean economically? It means ka-ching. It means cash. Cash, cash, money, money, cash, cash. Saudi Arabia is going to catapult their GDP, their money, their bag to another level, and they're knocking people out of the race. Now, the first question you should be asking is, man, how did Saudi Arabia make that boss move? Saudi Arabia saw opportunity. Saudi Arabia knew there's no way I'm going to invest $1 trillion in the U.S. economy, and the U.S. economy is having a hard time. It's no way I'm going to invest $1 trillion in the U.S. economy, and the U.S. economy is having a hard time. It's fluttering. It's fluttering. So what did the U.S. do? The U.S. came with gifts. And one of that is putting Saudi Arabia. The U.S. came with gifts. And one of that is putting Saudi Arabia at the forefront of this AI race. Now that means that the U.S. is not the forefront. If we're to Saudi Arabia, that means the U.S. is supporting Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is not supporting the U.S. Show your support. Tap that screen. If the information that you hear out of my mouth, you find it to be valuable, okay? You find it to be insightful. Screen. If the information that you hear out of my mouth, you find it to be valuable, okay? You find it to be insightful. You find it to be unique. Please tap that screen. Show your support. Please follow me, and then take. You find it to be unique, please tap that screen, show your support, please follow me, and then take it to the next level by going to my profile and showing me that it's of real value to you, all right? Who's supporting who? It's Saudi Arabia. That means the U.S. is in a support role because the person, the country, the business that has the technology, the country, the business that's setting up the infrastructure, the country, the business that has access to renewable energy, which would be Saudi Arabia because they're next to Syria, I would say they're setting themselves up for success. Now, why do I believe that? Well, the U.S. is expensive. To produce the energy that's needed for AI and or quantum computing, fossil fuels cost too much money. That would cost too much in the U.S., so that's why I believe that the U.S. is now in a support role to this AI because Saudi Arabia just got set up to win. Yeah, we got money. The value of NVIDIA's gone up. The CEO of NVIDIA just got richer. Yes, they got money right now. But if you look over the long term and you plan this out, the long game, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look right. We don't have the rare minerals to produce the chips. Saudi Arabia has the rare minerals to produce the chips. China is not exporting to the US, but guess what? China can probably export to Saudi Arabia. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Tap that screen. Come on now. China's not exporting to the US. There's still an export ban. But I don't think there's an export ban in Saudi Arabia. No. China can export to Saudi Arabia. China's not exporting to the US. So I'm telling you, NVIDIA just made a sale on a product that I don't think they can manufacture in the US. So who's manufacturing? It has to be in the Middle East. Who's getting the chips? Saudi Arabia. That's money on top of money on top of money. All right, let me continue. Okay. The name of the company that Saudi Arabia has started, or what is it, the Wealth Fund?
It started from the Wealth Fund.
There's a wealth fund in Saudi Arabia called Humain.
The Wealth Fund started this company.
Okay, a wealth fund in Saudi Arabia has started a company called Humain. Humain has just launched several 100,000 chips. Wait a minute. Listen, guys. Humain is a company that was started by a Saudi Arabia wealth fund. This wealth fund is going to basically center Saudi Arabia to be the center of AI in the world. This wealth fund, which is owned by Saudi Arabia, this wealth fund started a company called Humain. Humain is positioning Saudi Arabia to be the center of the AI in the world. If you understand what AI does, you can understand that it has far-reaching, industry-shattering, and economic leverage that would pale in comparison to what Aramco's been able to do. I'm going to repeat this. Some of you are familiar with Aramco. What Saudi Arabia just did, the move that they just made, has positioned them to make the success of Aramco look like a raisin, a tiny raisin. And they want it in the center of Saudi Arabia. Now, I personally don't think Saudi Arabia should put everything in one basket like that. What I'm saying is having a hub in Saudi Arabia is great, but there's some risk. There's some cybersecurity risk. Hi, Kevin. There's some cybersecurity risk, okay? You need something like an Iron Dome. Saudi Arabia, if you're listening to me, you need something like an Iron Dome for your AI hub. You need some security on a level that it's sci-fi. I'm going to repeat. When you have 18,000 plus of NVIDIA's best chips, you are positioned right next to Syria that can produce all types of renewable energy for you. You're set up for success. But Saudi Arabia, when you have that much in your favor, you have haters, you have hackers, you have people who are going to come in and try to undermine what you're trying to do because they were betting on others winning this AI race. So Saudi Arabia, if you're going to do this, you need to understand there is a level of security that may not even be invented that you must master if you're setting up this AI hub, this AI infrastructure, because it will be under attack. If y'all hear me in that live stream, come on now, come back to me. I know I rock your world. I know I shock you. I cause you to think, but you got to think, you got to support me. Okay. I'm back. Okay. I've done my good deed for the rest of my life. I tried to help people help themselves. Now I'm talking to the bosses. Okay. I'm back to the bosses. I need you to understand, if you're going to be the center of AI, okay, you're going to be the boss of AI. You need some unbelievable people that's going to protect your investment. It takes one hacker, one overheating of a system, one electrical fire, one mistake, and the investment you have and the power that you've gained for winning this AI race has just gone flush. So if anyone in Saudi Arabia is listening to me, you need to have a part of your plan, some type of cybersecurity that is an iron dome that will protect it from overheating, so your chips don't go missing, and the information that you're processing in this AI world, this AI center, it needs to be top notch, under top security, if this is where you're transitioning your country. Because let me tell you something, Saudi Arabia has a Saudi vision, the 2030 plan. Part of that 2030 plan is to have a thriving economy. All right. Now, to have a thriving economy, Saudi Arabia is moving away from oil, gas. They're moving into non-oil sectors. And one of those sectors they're making a move into is AI. You have mastered the oil and gas industry. You must master digitally protecting your AI, your digital investments. And it's not the same security that you have become accustomed to by having a great company like Aramco. Next, you want a vibrant society. When you have a vibrant society, guess what? You're bringing AI there. AI means information. Are you giving all of your citizens access to this information, or are you going to be restricting information to your citizens? So there's some other societal considerations that you have to think about when you're bringing something like AI and you're making Saudi Arabia the world's hub for AI. There's going to be some societal implications to your country and to that region of the world. Are you ready to support what new information, what more information, how that will impact your society? Have you accounted for that? Because if you haven't accounted for that, you can leverage it and get more income for Saudi Arabia, or it could work against you and cause you problems. So you must factor this from a human point of view. Having access and controlling that much information and processing power, what does that mean for your society? Does it align still with your vision? Next, and what is this? Ambitious? An ambitious nation. Saudi Arabia is ambitious, but now you want greater ambition. What does that look like? What does it mean for your people? What does it mean for your world relations? How does that look like? What does that translate into dollars? Because you have a number of other countries who are competing this AI race. You just made a bold move with NVIDIA. You saw opportunity. You saw a struggling U.S. economy, and you used that to your advantage. Now I'm telling you, you got to bring it home. You can't drop the ball. You got to bring it home. You have to understand how this AI, this World AI Hub, is going to impact your society. It's going to impact your relations in the Middle East. It's going to impact your relations with the rest of the world, because you're going to have people, countries that are jealous. You're going to have them trying to hack into it. You got to consider these factors, because when you are the leader, you are the boss. You have admirers, but you got haters. You have sabotagers. So you must make sure that you have all this set up in your favor so that you are set up for success. Thank you, Dr. Caroline. These are factors that you need to consider, okay? Now, guys, Now, guys, I'm going to keep saying this. I need you to follow me, okay? This is hardcore information that I'm bringing your way, and I'm asking you to make sure you follow me and you go to my profile to show me that this information I'm giving you is of value, and support me in direct relation to the value that I'm adding to you right now. If it's of value and you love my live stream, I am asking for your support. There's a new link on my profile that you should visit, and you should follow the steps to show your support and follow me. Now, back on topic, okay? Now, I'm moving to Syria. I'm done with Saudi Arabia, okay? I'll touch on this more in a few days, but what I want you to know right now, Syria has made an unprecedented move. Unprecedented move. I'm still trying to figure out what it means and how it means, but from what I see the U.S. in a support role to Saudi Arabia. I see Saudi Arabia becoming the new country that has ownership of the U.S. I said it, you heard it. The amount of money that Saudi Arabia is pumping into the U.S. when the U.S. is not fully performing the way the U.S. should is making me believe that Saudi Arabia is picking up the slack or picking up what China doesn't want. How this continues to play out, we will see. But I'm telling you, China is getting ready to dump some of U.S. debts, private equity. I see Saudi Arabia being courted to move in for what China's not willing to do for the U.S. anymore. Tap that screen, guys. Come on now. Tap, 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 tap. Please show your support. That's what I see was happening. That's why I believe President Trump is in the Middle East, making his rounds, making his ways, and he's making around because he's looking up to shore up investments. He's looking to have better alliances because China is not willing to support the U.S. Okay, so the U.S. is looking for someone else. So when I say who owns NVIDIA, I'm also asking who's now the new owner of the United States of America. Okay, that's real. I meant what I said. Now, let me tell you why Saudi Arabia is making more moves. Syria. The U.S. has had sanctions against Syria for a long time. I'm going to repeat. The United States of America has had sanctions against Syria for about 50 years? About 50 years. Almost 50 years. Saudi Arabia has gotten the U.S. to lift sanctions off of Syria. All. Did you hear me? I want you, if you heard me, show me you support me. Saudi Arabia, and one U.S. visit, thank you, Explorer, and one U.S. visit, Saudi Arabia has gotten the U.S. to lift sanctions that have existed for almost a century. Does that tell who has the power? Who has the power? This is a real question. Who has the power? No country, no one has been able to get the U.S. to lift sanctions off of Syria. No one has been able to get the U.S. to lift sanctions off of Syria. One fine day, President Trump and his CEO entourage show up at the doorsteps of Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia says, one fine day, President Trump and his CEO entourage show up at the doorsteps of Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia says, I want you to lift sanctions off of Syria. And President Trump said, yes. You know that man doesn't say yes to anything. You have to ask, what in Sam hell must be going on for the U.S. was a wealthy, rich, culturally rich country. Now, for a few generations, they've gotten off track. But let me tell you what Saudi Arabia has also done. Saudi Arabia and Qatar has paid off the debt of Syria to the World Bank. Why would they do this? Would you like to know what I think? Now, some of you may already know. Would you like to know why Qatar and Saudi Arabia would pay off the debt to the World Bank on behalf of Syria? Would you like to know? Let me tell you why. Syria is sitting on, it has land that's untapped. It's untouched. Even with all the fighting, they have minerals, resources that no one has gotten to for generations. The Middle East is a mineral-rich region of the world. And just because they've been fighting in Syria, thank you, it's untouched. It's untapped. One. Next, the location of Syria. OMG. The geographical location of Syria. It's epic. No one has to deal with the drama of Egypt's Suez Canal. Now, if you don't know what's going on in Egypt, every other ship gets sunk. If you can cover both eyes, okay? You can cover both eyes and you can guess the odds of the amount of ships that are going to make it through the Suez Canal in Egypt. But if you can bring stability to Syria, that location makes trade cheaper, potentially safer, and more profitable. Faster. Let me know if you're with me. Tap, 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 tap. Show me you support me. Show me you support me. Come on now. Next, Syria can produce all kinds of renewable energy at the same time. That means for AI and quantum computing, renewable energy is the best energy for AI. So what am I trying to tell you? I'm telling you, Syria, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. It's money, 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 money. Saudi Arabia is making moves to leverage the location, the resources, and the opportunity in Syria to help catapult itself and bring Syria back on the map. Syria is now open for business. Syria made an announcement saying, we are open for free trade. Now, yesterday or within the last couple of days, the U.S. has a conversation with Saudi Arabia, and all of a sudden, sanctions are gone. The reason why U.S. sanctions being gone are important is because we do business in dollars. So by getting the U.S. to lift sanctions on Syria, that means you can do dollar business in Syria. That means other countries can come in and invest in Syria. Now, what does this mean for Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia has an alliance, has another country in which it can invest in infrastructure-wise, which brings money. It also has access to renewable energy that it can use for its AI hub. It also can distribute some of its AI infrastructure and its AI world and have it in another country. I'm telling you, Saudi Arabia has made some unbelievable boss moves. And I don't know if the rest of the world knows what it truly or fully means. You see, a lot of people look at Syria and you see a war-torn country. I look at Syria and I see vast amounts of money. And I see vast amounts of money. I see money to the east. I see money to the west. I see money to the north, south. I see money in the heavens, and I see money beneath the earth. I see money. You can't pay attention to what is in front of your face. You have to see beyond that. How many people are here?
277.
I got 277. Y'all know, I get excited over money, and I need you to support me. Okay? I need y'all to tap that screen. I need you to follow me. I need you to tap the screen. I need you to go to my profile, because if this is adding value, I'm looking for you to support me and show your appreciation and direct proportion. Thank you to what I'm sharing with you. I'm telling you, Saudi Arabia, Qatar is repositioning the Middle East to steal the race, to win the bag. I'm telling you the reason why I focus on history, because Syria was the hub of the world. Thank you for the gift. Syria was the hub of the world. Okay? It's because of war and outside influences and infighting that they got off their path. Syria, if it's able to maintain stability, have some structure, have visionary leadership, it is going to cause a vacuum. It's going to suck money from other places of the world. It's going to suck money. It's going to suck money from the West. It's going to suck money from developing nations. And Saudi Arabia is positioning its claws in Syria before any other country tries to come in and colonize it or control it. Did you hear me? Qatar and Saudi Arabia are making moves to position itself to build up Syria, because it's a lot of money, bring in foreign investment, and ensure outside countries do not come in and take this gold mine. They got there first, which is why they paid off the debt to the World Bank. Saudi Arabia has come in and leveraged the weak U.S. economy to get more perks from the U.S. than they were going to get originally. Originally, Saudi Arabia was not going to be asking for sanctions and all that to be removed. But when the U.S. economy performed poorly, President Trump had to offer a gift basket. And Saudi Arabia says, no, I want more. What I'm telling you is that Saudi Arabia basically the U.S. got bent over, slapped on the ass, and their bag was taken. Real talk. No U.S. president that you saw in modern day history was going to get rid of sanctions on Syria. They needed some type of power and influence, and it's called economic influence. U.S. sanctions on Syria have been active since 1979. The Saudi Crown Prince said, get rid of the sanctions for a $600 billion investment. The U.S. got rid of sanctions on Syria for a $600 billion investment. And that's how all the sanctions on Syria is gone. So what does that mean for the rest of the world? It means trade routes are going to change. And if anyone knows what happens with trade routes, when trade routes dry up and they shift, money shifts. Look at Timbuktu. Look at the Silk Road. When there is a trade route, that is cash, money, money, cash, cash. When a trade route shifts or when it dries up, the towns dry up, the people migrate, education slows down, there's a huge impact. So by bringing Syria back and looking at what Syria was great at in the past, it's going to cause a shift of money flow. It's going to cause a shift of resources. It's going to cause a shift of education and information. And now you have Saudi Arabia, who is basically, once AI wants to be the center of the AI world, I would say the Middle East is tilting the scales of information, of technology, and money and trade back in their favor. What do y'all think? You don't have to see it to believe it. It takes time for some things like this to come into play, but you don't have to see all the puzzles. I'm telling you what the moves mean. Saudi Arabia does not invest billions of dollars and want access to 18,000 plus of NVIDIA's best chips. No one plays with money. No one wastes money. A rich nation, no one does that. I'm telling you, Saudi Arabia is they're hunting. They're hunting for power. They're hunting for position. They're hunting for money flow. And they are repositioning the Middle East to how it used to be in the past. And the Middle East was the trade hub, the information hub, the education hub, the minerals, the resources. It was the heartbeat of the world until they started fighting. And they started fighting because of outside influences. They started fighting because they lost focus. But when you get focused and you do what you're good at, guess what? You get to make money moves. You get to make power moves. Let me know if you're with me. Tap, 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 tap. I know you're thinking, some of y'all are new. Okay, you're new to my live stream. My name is Tara. I am a digital nomad. I love history. I love business. I love economic cycles. And I love current events. And I love explaining it to people so that you can follow the money flow and you can ride economic booms. This is about money. Now, just like I'm supporting you with this information, you get to support me with following me and going to my profile and supporting my show in direct correlation to the value that I'm adding to you. But I'm going to keep saying this because I want y'all to understand I'm back getting started and I'm getting ready to blow your mind. Okay. Now, Trump has agreed to even an impromptu visit from the interim president of Syria. This is how I know the world has gone mad. Okay. This is how I know the world has gone mad. President Trump, who for weeks can't seem to stop fighting about whether he can get on the phone with President Xi. President Xi and President Trump have been fighting about whether they're fighting about talking about fighting. President Trump now has agreed to a visit from the interim president of Syria. Now, the interim president of Syria has a very interesting history. Did you hear me? The interim president of Syria, if you go and look at his resume of his experiences, he is a man that Trump probably would not indulge in a conversation. Now, you have to read between the lines as far as what I'm saying. And is there anyone in my live who can read between the lines? The interim president of Syria, has an interesting past. That's all I will say. Okay? That's all I will say. And the fact that President Trump is meeting with the current president of Syria, knowing his past, I know the world has gone mad because Trump would never, ever, 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 if he didn't have to, sit down with that gentleman. So the fact that he is willing to have a meeting with Syria's current president, considering his spicy past, his interesting past, it means something's not right. It means something is right, and it means something's not right at the same time, because that man would no. What does it take to get President Trump to get rid of all sanctions on Syria and meet the president? Do y'all not see that as fishy? Do you not smell a fish? Do you not smell a fish that's been sitting out in the sun and it's just been rotting? I'm telling you, no. And Saudi made it happen. Saudi Arabia made it happen. Who's calling the shots? Come on now. Who's calling the shots? President Trump, this man can't say yes to save his life. He can't agree to disagree. And he can't agree to agree. Saudi Arabia, the crown prince, has gotten this man to sit down with the president of Syria. He has gotten President Trump to release all sanctions, not just a little, all, like that. but we can't get rid of tariffs on China. Who's calling the shots? You can think about that on your time. You can think about that on your time. But I'm telling you, does that sound like President Trump? Is he having an out-of-body experience? Has he been body snatched? He must be body snatched. Okay, I think Saudi Arabia has body snatched President Trump. And they have dropped him someplace. They dropped him on his head because this doesn't make any sense at all. Now, Trump is meeting with Qatar, UAE, Turkey, and others. President Trump is not meeting with Israel. I'm going to repeat. President Trump is meeting with Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey, and others. But he's not visiting Israel. Here we go. Let me tell you what I think. Do you want to know what I think? You want to show your support to me? You want to know what I think? Why is it that President Trump is not going to Israel? Well, let me tell you why. Israel was in Syria creating fireworks. Read between the lines. Israel was in Syria creating uninvited, unwanted fireworks for security reasons. Now, the president of Syria frowned upon that and said that Israel was not helping to stabilize an unstable situation. Work with me here. So what I believe has happened is that President Trump only speaks money. Thank you for the gift. President Trump speaks money, specifically cash. And Israel is interfering with cash, money. Now, where's that cash money? The money's in Syria because he just lifted sanctions. He's meeting with the president of Syria. And Saudi Arabia said, you better meet with him. You better remove those sanctions. You better not interfere with my business. So that's why I believe President Trump is not showing up to Israel, because President Trump is following the money. And the money, growth, opportunity, development is, guess what? It's happening. It's going to be happening in Syria. And who's supporting Syria? Well, Saudi Arabia and Qatar is supporting Syria financially. Saudi Arabia just got sanctions. All U.S. sanctions left it off. Guess what that means? Countries, companies from all over the world are going to be investing in Syria, because Syria is basically it's in its infancy. It's in its economic infancy. When something is in its economic infancy, that is a lot of money. If you look at a business, you look at the life cycle of a business, when a business is in its growth phase, that's high profits. The U.S., old. Europe, old. Asia, old. But Syria, because of its location, its access to minerals and resources, it's an opportunity that money is raining from the sky. So I believe that President Trump is not, it's an opportunity that money is raining from the sky. So I believe that President Trump is not going to Israel because he doesn't want to rub his new friends the wrong way. He doesn't want to be perceived as not understanding the vision, doesn't want to rub his new friends the wrong way. He doesn't want to be perceived as not understanding the vision, the 2030 vision of Saudi Arabia. That's what I think. Tell me what you think. Because it doesn't make any sense. If you're neutral, you pay a visit to all. You be respectful to all. Why are you snubbing Israel? What has Israel done to you? Israel hasn't done anything to you. Israel is doing defense purposes, right? So why would you not go to Israel unless it has something to do with this modern, most recent activity in Syria, and which was basically frowned upon? So he snubbed. He snubbed. It was a global snub. And that's what President Trump does. If you don't do what he wants, he publicly embarrasses you, right? Tat, tat, tat. If you don't do what he wants, he shuts you out. He cuts you off. He puts you under a probe. So clearly, he's not agreeing with the independence and the moves that Israel is making, and he's going to where he can make the most money. Now, if you guys also don't know, President Trump has opened up a new resort in Qatar. He's also opened up a new property. Was it in Dubai? He's opened up a new property in Dubai. Okay. He also got a private jet from Qatar. The U.S., the president of U.S. is flying around in a plane that's not U.S. made. Now, I don't know what security, that's just security red flags to me. The president of the United States is not flying around in a presidential plane that's made by U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. He's flying in a plane that he got from Qatar. Now, I'm questioning, like I said, the world has gone. It's just the world has shifted. Now, we're talking about security, national security. NVIDIA was prevented from selling a chip to China because of national security. Yes, there was an import-export license that was put on NVIDIA that prevented NVIDIA from being able to sell its low-value chip to China. And they said it was for national security. So how is it that our president is in a presidential plane that's from Qatar and they're not worried about national security? Show your support to me. Come on now, show your support. Tap that screen. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? NVIDIA was under a government probe for engaging in business relations with China. But the President U.S. is in a plane from Qatar. Now, you and I both know, if I could have a fly on that presidential jet, the presidential jet from Qatar, if I could be a fly, if I could be a bug, how many bugs do you think is on that plane? That presidential jet that the U.S. president is riding on, how many insects, how many bugs do you think is on that plane? Now, let me tell you why that's interesting. Okay, let me tell you why that's interesting. I believe that it's known that that plane has an infestation of bugs. Listen to me. The U.S. presidential plane that was bought from Qatar, I believe it's known that it has an infestation of bugs. And I believe that ignorance is being used. What I'm trying to tell you is I believe that it's known that there's a bug on that plane. And if you claim that you didn't know there was a bug, you can never be held accountable for that bug. Does that make sense? If you have ignorance of a bug on a plane, you can't be blamed for the bug on the plane if you don't know the bug on the plane exists. Does that make sense? Guys, please follow my live stream. Please follow. Please. I'm here. So what I'm trying to tell you is that while NVIDIA was under a government probe for selling chips to China, the U.S. president is on a plane from Qatar that was made in Qatar, and he refuses to accept the Boeing plane. He refuses to ride in the U.S. plane because they're taking too long. They could be taking long because they're trying to protect his security, but he's taking too long. That doesn't make sense, okay? That doesn't make sense. I'm telling you something is not right. Something is not right, and I'm going to stand on that. Now, Syria's finance minister says that foreign investors are welcome after U.S. sanctions are lifted. Do you think it's possible that the Trump family is going to be an investor in Syria? I'm sorry, y'all went ghost on me. Yeah, I'm still going. Tap that screen. Support me. Tap that screen, follow me, support me, and please, hell yes. Okay, this is critical, guys. I'm telling you, they follow the money. Okay, follow the money. Hi, Kevin. Thank you. I'm telling you, Syria is basically a land that can be started anew. Syria is a land that can basically be redeveloped, started anew. Started anew. It's like overnight Syria can pop up on the map and you won't even recognize Syria for what has been happening over the last 70 years. I believe some of those foreign investors are going to be Trump family. And I believe there's going to be a lot of other people who are investing their money. Now, the question you must ask, why are they not pouring that money into the U.S.? Why are they moving the money overseas? Because President Trump is telling all of you he's bringing manufacturing. He's bringing manufacturing back. If you're bringing all this manufacturing, why is it that his money is flowing to the Middle East? Better deals. Thank you, investor. That is correct. Better deals. That means is that the U.S. economy, that comes later, the U.S. economy is not moving along the way you're expecting it to. The U.S. economy is getting a makeover. It's getting a makeover. Cheaper deals. You're right. Cheaper deals, more profits. But I believe the U.S. economy is actually getting a makeover. The U.S. economy being the innovator and the ideas, I believe that is being shifted. I believe it's being shifted. Crucito, you give thumbs down. Why are you here? Guess what, Crucito? Guess what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to make your wish come true. I'm going to make your wish come true. There you go. You're gone. Very simple, guys. Listen. You don't have to wait until I block you. If you don't want to be here, you can just scroll. You don't have to wait until I block you. I'm telling you, they are opening up Syria because it's a lot of money that's going to come in. And that money is going to be sucked from first world nations. Why? Because it's cheaper. They're more centrally located. And anytime there's reconstruction and development, that allows for a lot of money to be pumped, and taken. Money doesn't disappear. Money moves. And if money is going to be moving into the Middle East and Saudi Arabia is becoming, it wants to be the center of the AI world, it is another, here's a puzzle. Puzzle. I'm telling you that the money moves in cycles. If you listen to someone like Ray Dalio, if you look at economic cycles, business cycles, there is a large cycle when it comes to money. There was a period of time where the Middle East, they felt it was the center of the world. Trade, education, medicine, races and people were mixing. And then things changed, trade routes dried up, and then that money got dispersed to other parts of the world. I'm telling you that we are at a time where the money is flowing from countries that you have gotten used to being rich, and it's moving back to the other part of the world that has been financially suffering, because money follows economic cycles. If the universe follows cycles, money follows cycles also. Now, why do I talk to you about this? I talk to you about this because I want to show you to follow the money flow. Some of us live in a bubble and we refuse to accept that a nation that was rich and powerful can be financially destitute and struggling. Look at the British Empire. Look at the Roman Empire. Look at what happened to the Byzantine, the Ottoman Empire. You think just because a great empire exists and they're powerful and rich that they will always be around. That's not how this works. So when you're watching Cuba, exactly, when you're Cuba also, so when you watch these moves happening, you think, oh, this could never happen. It's happening. It's happening. What type of leverage, information, economic influence must Saudi Arabia have to be able to get the president of the United States to get rid of all sanctions? What information power must Saudi Arabia have to get the U.S. president to meet with the president of Syria? What power must Saudi Arabia have that the U.S. would snub Israel? So you have to look at these shifts and dynamics and understand that there's a new economic world order that's happening. And there's alliances that have changed. You have the EU aligning with China. Who would have ever imagined the EU is not aligned with the US? So when you see relationships change and you see alliances change and you see policy changes, you see policy changes that basically make your head turn around, I'm telling you there's something up, okay? Syria is also asking for global investors to do business with them. The Syria finance minister calls Syria a land of opportunities. Which country? Which country? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Tap that screen. Which country was known as the land of opportunities? Which country was the original country? Give me an emoji. Which country was the original land of opportunities? Come on now. Where are my history people? Which country was the original land of opportunities? Come on now. The original rhetoric. Who? Which country? Mr. Neptune. Mr. Neptune. Yes. Syria is branding itself as the land of opportunity. Do you understand the world has changed? Overnight. Show your support. Tap that screen. The U.S., everybody clawed to get their way to the U.S. That's why the U.S. is a melting pot of so many people. Syria is branding itself as the land of opportunities. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? And let me tell you why it's real. It's true because of Syria's location. It's true because of Syria's history. It's true. It's true. Syria is one of the original lands of opportunity. The U.S., we're off in the corner. If you look at the location of the U.S., we're not easily accessible. We're difficult to get to. Syria is in the center of the world. It was one of the original lands of opportunity. Someone listened to me, went back into their history books and looked at Syria as being the land of opportunity, the land of potential across every sector. You can't say that for the U.S. anymore. That's how you know the U.S. has peaked. It's reached a plateau. The U.S. has a similar business cycle. The U.S. is experiencing a similar cycle as a business. You have infancy, you have it plateau, and then if you don't manage it properly, it declines. Even a country has a life cycle of creation, sustain, and destruction. So now that Syria is branding itself the land of opportunity in every sector, anybody who wants to make money, real money, will be running there. And they'll be running next door to Saudi Arabia also. That, I can't emphasize in words the magnitude of what this means. But if Syria can pull it off by maintaining stability, security, strong visionary leadership, and build productive, prosperous alliances, and get rid of the chaos and the BS, because of the time, the age that we're in right now, and how quickly things move, Syria I'm telling you, it's going to change. But you got to have good leadership. You got to have strong leadership. You have to be able to have alliances, and you have to have a visionary plan that the people support. And you have to manage corruption. You have to pump money into the economy and allow that money to get into the economy and infrastructure. If Syria can model the behavior of Saudi Arabia, if Syria can model some of the defense that Israel uses, then guess what? Syria will come up overnight. It will come up overnight, and you will be shocked of how the world has changed and how the world looks, okay? Now, the next goal for Syria is reintegrating into the financial system, the global financial system. If Syria can find a stable, secure way to start integrating cross-border financial transactions and get aligned with cash, I'm telling you, money will start to flow back to the Middle East. Money will also start to flow back into Africa. That region of the world is going to shift it from the West, and I stand on that all 10 toes. I stand on it all 10 toes because that is basically what happens, okay? That is how the world works. Money doesn't disappear. Money moves. Money shifts. And just because it's leaving one country and it's leaving someone's bank account, it's going into someone else's bank account. That's just how it works. So guys, I want you to know I am back. I am done trying to help people help themselves because clearly people are still confused. So I'm going to do what I do well. I'm going to focus on history. I'm going to focus on current events. I'm going to focus on business cycles and economic cycles. And I'm going to give you my unique take on what I see and how. You enjoy my content and how much value I add. I'm going to ask you to show your real support. I believe talk is cheap. Action. Follow me. And if this is of direct value to you, your business, your country, I'm going to ask you to go to the new link in my profile. The new link in my profile. Yes, there's a new link. I'm going to ask you to go there, follow the steps, and show how much value I've added to your life. And support me. Because I'm doing this because I love it, and I'm doing this because I believe I can I can make a difference, and I'm doing this because I want you to think differently, and I want you to be able to follow the money flow. You don't have to be broke, you don't have to struggle, and you don't have to be in the dark, but you do have to master this money game, and there's an art to this. It's simple, but there's an art. You can't get caught up in your emotions. You have to think objectively. Thank you, Lucky. And you have to master the art of timing. You also can't be operating with limited beliefs. Some of you have dogma. You have limiting beliefs because you seem to think that this is a competition. This is not about competition. Money flows where it's easy. Money flows where there's free trade. Money flows when a country or a business recognizes opportunity and they pounce on it. It's all about timing. And that is how Saudi Arabia was able to secure so much from the U.S. because they saw opportunity. I don't want to get flagged, so I'm not going to say the word. They saw something red in the water. They saw something red in the water, and they went after it like a shark. Now, why President Trump is pandering to Saudi Arabia fully, I believe time will tell. I believe time will tell. But I also I don't believe the U.S. is being fully positioned, structured to win this AI race. And I'm going to say that again. It is my opinion that the U.S. is not being positioned to win this AI race. And with this new deal, it has brought an influx of money. But I believe the $600 billion that Saudi Arabia is pumping into the U.S. economy, that's pumping into tech, I believe Saudi Arabia is investing that money so that Saudi Arabia can win this AI race. And whoever's winning the AI race is going to be positioning themselves to win this quantum computing race. And if Saudi Arabia is going to be controlling and managing so much information in AI infrastructure, and it's going to have the support of Syria as far as energy, I see the U.S. has just made, we made a move that it doesn't make sense. We still don't have the resources. We still don't have the critical rare minerals. Now, originally, President Trump was going to Saudi Arabia to negotiate access to mining in Saudi Arabia. But I heard nothing of that. So I believe someone may have listened to me and decided to hold on to their minerals and not give their minerals away. Yes, a week ago I said, Saudi Arabia, do not give away your critical rare minerals to the U.S. because that will put you in an assistant or a support role to the U.S. I told Saudi Arabia, hold on to those resources and win the race. Now, what's happening? NVIDIA selling chips that NVIDIA does not have all the materials to produce. NVIDIA has gotten paid, but something in this doesn't make sense. And I'm telling you, Saudi Arabia they're going for gold. All right. Thank you for watching me. I'm done for today. I will be back again tomorrow. On Monday, I will be back on the stock market again. But for right now, I am done talking about people transitioning out of your job. And I'm back to people who want to understand economics, history, money flow. And if you love my content, please follow me and show your support by going to my profile, following the steps. And if this adds value, Show your support. Show you mean it. Show that you're there for me because I'm there for you. Thank you for your time. I will see you all tomorrow. I am done streaming for today. Anyone who wants to contact me, feel free to contact me. I'll give you my email. But this is a new show. This is a new structure. I'm only focused on running my mouth and educating all of you. And I'm telling you, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. You're my people. You're my peeps, and I appreciate your support, and I hope I've added value and I can change as many lives as possible. Have a good night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, and go to my profile and go to my link. Bye.